Hi, this is Joe again with another review. For the sake of this video, I'm going to continue discussing during my reviews of the James Bond movie series. And for this one, on this video, I'm going to be discussing the 1969 film on Her Majesty's Secret Service, starring George Lazenby as James Bond, the first and only time he plays Bond, and we'll get more into that in a minute. And it also stars Diana Rigg, fresh off the show The Avengers. And of course, and also this movie, it also stars Tony Savalas before he did the TV show Kojak as Ernest Blofeld, who was the second actor, or technically was the third actor, by Anthony Dawson, who played Blofeld. Well, all you saw was his hands. He was stroking the cat. But he was the second actor, we actually saw the face of the character instead of just his hands stroking the cat behind Donald Pleasance. Of course, they was in the Halloween movie series. But so Tony Savalas is actually the second actor that they actually see the whole face and everything playing Blofeld. Of course, this is also the second movie that Blofeld was the main character, and the main villain, and not some Spectre agent. And you do see Spectre agents in this movie, which we're going to get into. But this movie is also the longest movie in terms of time. It's about 2 hours and 25 minutes in real time. I think about between 2 hours and 20 minutes and 2 hours and 25 minutes is the actual time of this movie. So it's the longest of all the Bond films in terms of time. And it's also one of the more controversial Bond films at the time it was released, because of course at that time Sean Connery had just pulled out of playing James Bond. He played Bond in the first 5 Bond films, which was Dr. No, Wish with Love, Goldfinger, Thunderball, and You Only Live Twice. He went out of the character even before he did You Only Live Twice, but Henry Selzman and Cubby Broccoli, who were the producers of the film, of the Bond series, says, okay, we'll let you out of your contract provided you do You Only Live Twice. And Connery reluctantly decided to do it, so he did, but he looked completely bored. Of course, I'll do a review of You Only Live Twice when I watch it again and do a proper review then. So after he did You Only Live Twice, he pulled out, and of course he had a whole big casting search to see who would play the next James Bond. And originally, when the Bond movie franchise first started back in 1962, and of course with Dr. No, Salzman and Broccoli originally wanted Roger Moore to play the part, but he wasn't available at the time because I think he was doing the show The Saint, I think, then. And so he wasn't available, so they hired at that time an unknown who was Sean Connery. So again, when Connery finally pulled out, and after You Only Live Twice, which came out in 1967, they did a whole big, for like about a year, they did a whole big casting search, and they ended up hiring a male model by the name of George Lazenby to play the part. Now physically, he looked like, good for the part, because he was very tall. He was very physical. He was very good in the physical scenes. He did a lot of kicks in the movie. And he physically he could do the part, but he never really acted before, and it was his first real feature. So his acting wasn't up to snuff like it was with Connery or Roger Moore later on. So, a lot of people were complaining about his acting style, and I also heard stories that Diana Rigg didn't really get along with Lazenby. And of course, Diana Rigg was already an established actress at that time with as I mentioned, the show of the TV show The Avengers. So, ironically, Diana Rigg was replaced on The Avengers by another Bond girl, Anna Blackman, who of course played Pussy Galore in Goldfinger. So there's kind of irony there. That Diana Rigg was replaced by Anna Blackman of The Avengers. So it's kind of ironic there. But anyway, on to the plot. Of course, the plot of this film is, of course, with Bond still hunting down Blofeld, who of course is the head of Spectre. And in this movie, there is a reference to Spectre by Bond to another criminal that Bond was trying to hit up for more information, which he does give him on the condition that Bond marries his daughter, who is played by Diana Rigg. So he said, "Oh, come on, I'm not a married guy." And Bond says to him, "You know who I am. You know I work for the British Secret Service, and it's not appropriate for an agent to be married, because our enemies could go. My enemies could go after her, and instead of me, and kill her and stuff." And so the guy says, "Well, I want you to marry her anyway. It could be, and I can tell you're a good guy. It'd be good for her, and she needs a tough, strong guy to strain her, to put her on a straight now." And Bond says, let me think about marrying your daughter first. That's why I take care of Blofeld. Of course, at that time, Bond was chasing Blofeld for 2 years, which was the time frame from the previous film, which was You Only Live Twice, came out 2 years earlier, and this was the next film in the movie series. So at least he had a little bit of continuity, which is rare in the Bond films to have any kind of continuity. Because sometimes you do have like a reference, you're thinking you miss it, a reference to Bond's previous adventures. But there's few and far between. You might have like a line or two of dialogue, a couple lines of dialogue about a previous adventure, and then it's never been brought up again for the rest of the film. That's what happened in that particular scene where Q removes Bond off of the case. Because look, we trying to look for him for 2 years and you haven't found him, so instead of assigning maybe another agent, working with Bond to maybe help him to look for Blofeld, they just decided to end the whole, close the case altogether. And of course, Bond decides to get so mad being put off the case that he actually hands in his resignation. And then Moneypenny, played by Lois Maxwell, who was, I think she played part maybe half the movies, switched it, like 2 weeks vacation, because they knew, I know you didn't really want to quit. And so M, played by Benoit Lee, says, "Okay, I grant you the two," and you thought it was that M granted M Bond's resignation, but it turns out it was just the 2 weeks leave, 2 weeks vacation. And of course, at that time, Bond decided to take out Diana Rigg, who I should mention before I go any further. Bond saves her life at the beginning of the film by 2 goons, and of course in the opening teaser sequence, and of course since Doris Lazenby played the part of Bond, you had a little wink, wink, nod, nod moment when Bond saves her life, and she runs off the beach, gets into the car, and drives away. So Lazenby looks towards the camera like I'm doing now and says, "This never happened to the other fellow." in reference to Connery. So it's kind of like a wink, wink, nod, nod, saying, "Hey, this is new actor playing." And I think that was like really the only time they ever mentioned that, or had a line like that. It's never happened to the other guy. Because he never said that with Roger Moore. It never happened to the other 2 guys who played the part. You never had that. So of course you already had a relationship with Diana Rigg already, and of course Bond, with his 2 weeks leave, reunites with Diana Rigg, and they started dating a little bit during this time. And then while during this time, he finds out from Diana Rigg's father where Blofeld was. It was in Switzerland. So Bond goes to Switzerland and finds out what Blofeld's plan was. It's kind of like a hokey plot, and the plot was that Blofeld planted a virus in a bunch of girls, and Blofeld was going to set at different points in the world, and this virus kills off all living life, plant life, and no one will be able to grow any more crops, and the soil will be no good, and it'll poison the land and stuff, and people will start dying because of no food, no crops, no vegetables, fruits, or any kind of other crop that you can grow in the ground, and it will be destroyed. The ground will be destroyed. You won't be able to plant anything. So, and people will start dying because of starvation. That was Blofeld's plan. And so, in doing so, he hypnotized all these girls, and they don't know that they're actually dangerous. And that's the hokey, plot. And of course, Bond finds out about all this stuff and tries to, inform, the British Secret Service and all this other stuff to try to stop what's going on. And meanwhile, so all you have to do is try to stop Blofeld, and Blofeld won't be able to give these girls the code signal through hypnotism to do it. All you have to do is stop Blofeld, and the girls won't be so dangerous. And so that was the whole plot of the rest of the movie. And of course, this film has a really extremely long chase scene with Blofeld, who was played by once again played by Ty Savalas, and some of his goons trying to chase Bond to kill him. And of course, the only other real Spectre agent was the woman who was helping Blofeld run this little medical thing, which was trying to help these girls with the various allergies, which they weren't. It was just bullshit. They just all hypnotism stuff, so you can send these women out to plant this virus, this virus or this plague, whatever is destroying the crops. So that's so basically what it was. And you had this real big chase also with Blofeld and his goons chasing Bond, and he meets up again. And for a long time, you didn't see the Diana Rigg character in the film. You didn't see Bond trying to figure out what Blofeld was up to. And of course, Blofeld knew who Bond was, of course, because and the thing that has a problem with these movies is that they don't know who's who. That's the one real nitpick I have, is that Bond does not know that's Blofeld, and Blofeld does not know that's Bond. It's kind of dumb. It's true you have a different actor playing the part, the two part, Blofeld and Bond, but they don't know of each other. Come on, it's called acting, people, okay? Screenwriting 101. Of course they knew of each other, they would recognize each other, and you had all that stuff going on, and you had, and of course when they both recognize each other, that's when you had the real big chase where Bond escapes, and you had this real huge chase scene, and this went on forever. And it went way too long with Diana Rigg driving, saving Bond's ass, and you had one narrow escape after another, and just think, how long can this chase possibly go on? They had chase when they were skiing, then you get into a car with Diana Rigg's driving, and they going through like a demolition derby thing, and it was really, it took maybe 20 minutes, this whole chase sequence. It really went on way too long. It was padded out, and it was really an extremely long sequence. And then of course, Bond goes in with Diana Rigg's father's guys, blows up Blofeld's operation. So now you're gonna have to worry about these girls with this virus to destroy the crops. And it looks like maybe Blofeld had died in an avalanche and stuff, and he had escaped an avalanche. Before he had the car chase, he had this big avalanche sequence with Bond narrowly gets buried, but he able to get pulled out. And Diana Rigg gets caught by Blofeld, and Bond saves her, and they had a car chase, and it was really, really long. And then, of course, after the whole sequence of it, the whole big chasing and the whole sequence with Blofeld's operation being destroyed, Bond does marry Diana Rigg in the end, and it's the only time in all the other Bond girls you have maybe over 30 different Bond girls, because he had more than one girl in these Bond movies. Diana Rigg was the only one that actually married James Bond in the movie. Even though, like I said earlier, the two of them didn't get along. Diana Rigg and George Lazenby didn't really get along. So, but the two characters married in the movie, and of course you had the really, really sad, traumatic ending for a Bond film. Because usually Bond films, when Bond escapes from the villain or destroys the villain's operation, he escapes with the girl, or the main Bond girl in the film, no matter who it is, and they're in a boat or on a plane, and they make out, or they kiss, or they have sex, or about to have sex, or implied sex, because you don't really see a sex scene, and then the credits start rolling, and so prepare, James Bond will be next, and you see the next Bond film was going to be coming out, you see the closing credits, and then that's it. Well, in this film, after the wedding, they actually, Diana Rigg and a character and Bond and George Lazenby will go off to the honeymoon, and they end up stopping the car for a minute so that Bond would take a hold of the flowers that's on the honeymoon car, because people were making fun, people were driving by them and making fun of the fact they have all these flowers in the car. So Bond decides to take all the flowers off, and here comes Blofeld and the woman who was helping him on that operation that Bond and his guys destroyed, and they started shooting up the car. Blofeld shot up the car, and Bond was lucky to get out of the car in time, because otherwise he would have been shot. But he looks around and he finds out realizes it was Blofeld. He says, "Damn it, it's Blofeld!" And he runs into the car to go chase him, and he finds out that Diana Rigg got shot in the head and died instantly. Major spoiler for those of you who didn't see the movie. And Bond was crying over her. Inside the car, a cop comes along. I guess he heard the gunshots or something. Pulls up and says, "She's alright, she's just sleeping now." And he goes, we now have all the time in the world." And that's how the movie ends, with that line, and with Bond crying over Diana Rigg's character. Of course, in my review of For Your Eyes Only, you see Roger Moore playing Bond visiting the grave of his wife. It has the actual name Teresa Bond, and it has the line, "We have all the time in the world," on the gravestone. And it was a small little gravestone. And it's the only time you ever see them visit the grave, or Bond visiting the grave. And there was reference in another film which I previously reviewed, when he mentioned that he was married before his wife was practically killed, and Roger Moore cuts her off. And it was really, 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 really upsetting, because usually these Bond movies usually end on a high note. This movie is the only one that ends on a down note. The only one of all the Bond films. And it was really, really sad to see that ending. But, at the time when the movie came out, it was really controversial, because that, as I mentioned at the top of the review, Sean Connery pulled out of the film, for the film series. Well, George Lazenby literally screwed himself in this movie, and they pulled him, or the producers pulled George Lazenby out, because, "Oh no, I'm buying more," they wanted more money, into a contract or a big picture deal. Figured it was going to be playing Bond for maybe the next 10 years or something. And unfortunately, the producers says, out you go. And I think they got a lot of flack that they hired a woman actor, a guy who had no acting experience playing the part. So what they did was they brought back Sean Connery for Diamonds Are Forever, which I recently just previously reviewed, and they brought him back, gave him a bunch of money, and brought him back for Diamonds Are Forever. But it was the next film that was advertised in the end credits. But they never brought back George Lazenby, and we say they brought back Sean Connery for one more film, and then of course the rest was history with Roger Moore for the rest of the movies in the 70s and early 80s. He had Roger Moore playing the part of James Bond. So that's my review of Your Majesty's Secret Service. Please click on the video, feel free to comment on it, please subscribe to my channel, and please forward this video to your Facebook pages. You can check out all my reviews and on my YouTube channel at rallyc.com, it's over WDY, and that's c.com. There's a homepage of another reviewer. First thing more, please check out all of his videos on his website. Thanks for watching, and catch you next time.